To that my scaling YouTube channel. My name is Eddy Wang, and Eddy, it will be available after the next 3 days, I guess. And since I have purchased the early access, I get to speak about Eddy this early as well. And Eddy has changed quite a bit for the people that plays against him and for the people that plays Eddy as well. They can no longer sit on negative stance and hope for the best. That is gone, thank God, because negativa has been redesigned and now it really just does a negativa as it should be. And when in the negativa stance, he only avoids highs. You can hit him with mids, lows, whatever, and it no longer gets floated from negativa. That's a good change, but there is a twist in that as well, which I'm going to display you right now. For example, there is this move, right? It's 1-3. Seu gafanhoto, it's the name of Portuguese, and this move switches to negativa. So if Eddy does that, he is, as you guys are seeing, minus 14 on block, and Eddy players can choose to stay on negativa for longer in order to avoid highs, right? But you can check in with mids. That's minus 14. With engagers, right? You can do that. That works. But if he chooses to stay on negativa for longer, Eddy can now get full combo launched, right? That is the biggest change, actually. But that is not minus 15 punishable. If I set this to record and set to do the same thing into a stand, into a guard, as you guys are seeing right now, if I try to, for example, if I think that Eddy is going to stay in negativa for longer and he counters that with standing up, he's going to block my launchers, right? And he gets to launch me instead. So that is a new mechanic change on Eddy's negativa stance. And but you guys have to know that Jin has always been the natural enemy of Eddy Gordo, and that's ever since Tekken 3. Actually, ever since both were introduced in Tekken 3. When there wasn't low parries and Eddy could spam lows all day, Jin was the natural enemy of Eddy Gordo even then. I rather even showed this back in Tekken 3, and I do have a video of it in my channel where Arada picks up Jin and some other people played Eddy, right? The Eddy scrub, and was matching X and circles to do a bunch of moves. And in this case, for example, since that move cannot be launched this way because it's minus 14, and every single move that you have that is 14 frames or 15 frames as a mid is going to hit Eddy, right? But if you parry it, you're still going to launch Eddy. It doesn't matter if he tries to stand up after. That's because the parry is going to make Jin recovers first before he has a chance to exit the negativa stance, right? So he gets to do stuff like this, launch Eddy. And it's one of the main things that you're gonna have to be really aware of, because there are quite a few moves of Eddy that actually transition into negativa and are minus 14. For example, that's one of them, right? And that's also minus 14. See, minus 14. So if I try to launch this, I can't. But if I parry the second hit, I can launch. So Eddy can no longer sit his ass on the ground, but he can stay safe. But if you are optimal with your punishing, it won't matter, because you're still going to punish him anyway, right? And that's what matters the most. That's what matters the most. What matters the most is that you are able to still punish Eddy for doing stuff like this. So if Eddy players picking Eddy now and they are unaware of this, if they try to sit their ass on the ground, they are going to get launched. You can even test this with objects, and I'll be back to ones, which is going to do both, right? It's not going to float, but it's going to check them if they are staying longer on the ground. But you can also really just ignore all this stuff and parry into a full launch, right? Doesn't matter. So that is one of the main changes in Eddy's weaknesses. So he can mitigate it somehow, but now it is also full combo launched for it. Another thing I want to talk about is Lufada. Lufada is a safe hit engager that hits mid, but another Eddy main weaknesses is sidestep right. Many of his moves you can step to the right. Lufada is obviously mid, right? But you can sidestep Lufada to the right. Too slow. See? So every character can do that. But Jin can also parry it. So it doesn't matter. See that? Ah shit. It doesn't matter what he does, despite being safe. So the only possible scenario where you cannot avoid this is if your back is against the wall and there is a wall on this side, right? On the camera side. So there Lufada is going to become dangerous. Except of course you are Jin, which can do this. It doesn't matter if the opponent is at the wall, Jin can always parry Lufada and launch him. And there is quite a few moves actually that Jin is able to do this. For example, there is another move that transitions into Negativa. Let's see if I can find it here. Not Shango. King Shango is something that I don't like as well. Rabo da Raia Liberado is high. Where is that move? I believe it's 3-4. It's 3-4. Where is 3-4? Batida do Compassos. Cincelo. Where is that? Fazão. Raul do Sol. Raul da Lua. Geyser. He has one move. Ventania. He has a move that transitions into Negativa. I believe it's this one. See that's safe. That's a safe Negativa. You cannot avoid this, but you can parry it, right? If you parry this move, you can launch despite him going into Negativa. It doesn't matter, right? There is another one. He has one move that I believe is 3-4. I believe it's 3-4. 3-4 or down 4, 3-4. Let me see if I can find it here. New character, damn. New character, man. So annoying. Oh, this one. See, that's a weakness. You can even sidestep or backdash. You can even do armor move, but you can parry it, right? So that is one of the main weaknesses of Eddy Gordo is Jin. Jin parry is something that destroys Eddy a lot. For example, Negativa, where are another Negativa state? Can we find it? Yes, there is this one. That's also -14 into Negativa, right? So there is this, or you can just really So that is the biggest change into Eddy's game plan. So Eddy players can no longer sit their ass into Negativa and expect to take the lowest damage, because now if they sit on Negativa for longer, specifically from this move that I have shown you, which is 4-3-3, 1-3 while standing 1-3, they are all -14. And if you parry those moves, it doesn't matter if they make a hard read or not, you are going to launch them into a full combo. So that works against them. So any player is gonna have to adapt to that, on top of course having to deal with sidestep right, which is one of their main weaknesses. I'm going to show you something real quick that is on Bananera. Bananera is actually quite refreshing, because now Eddy has a way to sidestep into both sides with Bananera. Where is Bananera? Bananera, 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 Bananera. Yes, this one. So this move, right? You sidestep to the right. See that? You sidestep to the right. So there are quite a lot of moves that Jin is able to do that, and there is some that he cannot. For example, this one he cannot, but this is a high, so lots of knowledge check. So this move, see that Eddy now has a sidestep, right? So be careful, because boy has a sidestep now, and he can go from both sides. He also has reverse Bananera, which goes to sidestep left, and he can transition that into Negativa as well. So a best way to attack Bananera is with mids, always mids, and try to let him go into Bananera first before you go for your mids, because obviously Bananera is going to be used as a command sidestep, right? So he can go to both sides. It's what is going to happen with Eddy, but it's going to be interesting. So I'll be learning Eddy for the past few days and see, in order to understand him better and fight him better as well. So see you guys on the next video.